What's this, ladies and gentlemen? The rundown is here. Why are there three people here? We'll go into it because we're going to have more than three by the end of the show. We've got things to discuss. We've got the All-Star game happening on Sunday. We've got the start of Senior Ball. But rundown, that's not the bag. We've got another crack team of people covering that. And what's this? The Rundown Uniball Awards. You know, to find out. You can vote, maybe. Who knows? Or maybe I'll just pick it. Team of the Year, Portsmouth. Social Media of the Year, Portsmouth. Shock Winner of the Year, all of Portsmouth. Newcomer of the Year. Well, it doesn't. Well, it's not Portsmouth, but you get the gist. But you can vote. But we'll get straight into it. Let's go into the All-Star game. It's happening this Saturday. I'm going to be there. And
you're going? I didn't realise you were going, mate.
Well, I am going because it's actually an event that's happening in Coventry, so it's 10 minutes from my front door. So it would simply be rude for me not to go.
Don't get any fights, mate.
Yeah, don't report anything that you see. Just have a nice time, Chris. just simply have a nice time.
Please turn a blind eye. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. If anyone's at All Stars, you could do what you want because I'm not going to report it because, well. Yeah, you know how that goes. All Stars. There's some great people playing. I know that good old Rob Smith. Actually, that's a good point. I've not introduced Hayden. Where is he? He's over here for me. Introduce Hayden. He's one of the new people here at Sport Tank. He's been doing some of the graphics. If you saw any of the winners' graphics for the Prem and Div 1, those are all created by Hayden. Lovely stuff. He plays for the Bournemouth Bobcats. And speaking of Bournemouth Bobcats, we're going to have one. So, Hayden, introduce yourself.
I'm Hayden. I'm first year at uni. Play for the BU Bobcats, and I do a bit of graphic design on the side for the team page and Sport Tank now as well.
See, look at that. That's what we like to see, ladies and gentlemen. But speaking of Bournemouth BU Bobcats, we're going to have some on later. We're going to discuss their season. Div 2 champions. How will Steve react? His head might explode. But we're here. Back to All Stars. We got some great people. Our own SJ is a coach for the South, and friend of the show Rob Smith is also a coach for the South. But coach of the show. He's not a friend of the show. He's a friend of me. Jamal Avaranga, running back for the North. I don't know who to support. Yeah, I'm going to be Midlands involved.
Got to support the South.
Grow up.
Surely you have to support North. You're from a North Conference.
Huh?
You're from a North.
Well, maybe not. Well, Steve. Well, hopefully I might be in the Southern Conference, but you seem hell bent on fucking ruining that for me. So why don't you? Why don't you just be quiet? All right. So what are your thoughts on All Stars? I personally like. It's a bit more football. It's a bit more fun. They get to keep their lovely jerseys. I've seen them hanging up. I don't get one because I am shit. But
So my views, if you were asking me, it didn't start out as something that I could back, as in it was created by Football America, and I was like, this is just them trying to sort of get their name out. I suppose they have good solid motives, as in offering an All-Star game, and there used to be one, but it didn't feel like it was anything official. Well, it wasn't anything really official, but BAFCA have now it looks like they've stepped in and sort of taken ownership of it. So it's their event, you buy the tickets from them, and they're posting about it. So, that for me, that brings in a lot more credibility for it. But, outside of my political views of the creation of the event, I think it's a great thing. I think it's awesome to play in an All-Star game. Tebs, I know you haven't had the pleasure, but I certainly have myself. Not on a Uniball one.
Oh no, mate. Because I've played for all Sharks. It's all the fucking worst players in Uniball.
Yeah,
they come on through.
What you find with All-Star games, obviously, that these teams are sort of merged together. You get the best players from each team, and I remember when I went to an All-Star game, they didn't organise it by position. It was just all the best players. Well, we ended up with a ton of skill players and hardly any linemen, which was quite funny. But I'm sure it's a lot better organised the Uniball than it was for me some 20 years ago. But yeah, I think it's a massive honor to play in an all-star game. Every single one of those players and coaches and anyone else involved on either of those sidelines will be extremely pleased to be there. Be proud of what they're doing. It's a tough one because you've got to pull this, like, from a coaching perspective, you've got to just pull these groups of talented players together and get them to play together. Like it's not just, as you guys know, right? The game isn't as simple as like drop the best people with the best stats in a team and they'll just click, right? So they've got to learn a very basic playbook, I would assume, and gel as a team in order to come together to win. And it's both teams will be wanting to win this one. Like, you can, like, I know we've sort of said before in some of the varsity games, people like saying, oh, they don't take him as seriously. It's not the rivalry that you'd sort of expect or that it is in other unis. I think this one, you've got two sidelines, two teams of players that absolutely both want to just win that game, and get the plaudits or whatever the bragging rights. So yeah, I think it's really good. I don't know that it's I don't know much about it in terms of the media. I don't think it's going to be live streamed, although you may know otherwise, Tebs. But I'd love it if it was live streamed. I'd definitely watch it. Really looking for. I'd like if we were in a better position to provide better coverage of it, so like players and all that sort of stuff.
I'm sure I can work someone out.
Well, we'll get there. We've got as you know, a new platform with Sport Tank, and we'll be able to start capturing profile details and stuff.
So yeah, people, if you want Sport Tank coverage to come to your match, well, maybe
we bribing people now.
No, I'm just saying maybe hit it in the DMs. That's what I'm saying. Maybe put it in the DMs. Yeah. Or I'll come to you. Hayden, what about you? What are your thoughts on it as a current uni player?
It is live stream, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean. I just chucked it in there. I'm done now.
I think it's a good idea, a good concept, because there's a lot of players that kind of I feel like there's a lot of people that can see themselves making a career out of American football from unis, like going into Europe, into the semi-pro leagues and stuff like that. And it's a good place to make a name for yourself there against everyone, against the best of Uniball. But also I think it's a good thing, like from the perspective of my team, there's a lot of, like, everyone's getting behind the guys that are going to be going to it.
Yeah. That's cool.
There's it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit of a morale booster as well, that you're happy for your teammates to get selected for it, and that are getting a chance to show kind of everyone what they're made of, I guess.
How many of your players from your team are going to the
there's four of them going.
That's really good representation.
Yeah.
It's like, how big's the squad? Is it 45, 50? I don't know how many.
I think I'm not entirely sure. I think it's around 60 is probably the number. We're a big team.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, 45. I've just been told 45.
It is 45. So roughly 10% of the numbers are. The reason I knew 45, that's the number they use for European games. So you have to name a 45-man squad, no matter how big your squad is, if you want to play in the European games, like as in like the knockout competition. So I just assumed it was the same.
Yeah, I'm only in first year, so I don't get the insight into the numbers and everything.
Yeah.
I'm not on the committee and all that.
But, that's right. And actually, good point. As a first year, how do you feel? Like, is this something that you aspire and you hope to go into? Like, is this going to sort of make you? Is it something that you want to sort of add to your, a feather to your cap, so to speak, when you look back on your Uniball years?
Yeah, I think it's a good target to have. I mean, in terms of Uniball itself, obviously you want to win, you want to have a good season, you want to win the final game of the year. But I think the All-Stars thing is kind of, it's like that extra. You get to say like, oh, I represented the South against the best of the North, and I was picked amongst the best of the South, kind of thing. Yeah. It's not just you've made it as a starter in your team and done well in your team. It's that you've made it into a team built up of every uni that plays American football. I think that is certainly an achievement you want to aspire to get to.
Yeah.
Whether I get there or not, it's a different story. But it's definitely something that I'd want to do one day. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So we're gonna just quickly move on. We're gonna get straight back into Uniball. Just to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Senior Ball kicks off the day after All Stars. You know, bit of a shame for some of the players if they were anticipating playing 2 games in 2 days. I wouldn't recommend it. You know, maybe they can sort something out. Who knows? Would be nice.
Well, yeah,
But we're not going to be covering Senior Ball today.
Out.
We've got another show for that. Breeze will be coming back to discuss Senior Ball. They'll have predictions, they'll have rankings, they'll have all.
Is that a sore spot for you? Ted?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it looks like you're. Have you? I think you've. Well, it looks like you've frozen on the screen, mate.
Yeah.
Debs will probably drop out again and then come back.
Why?
I can hear. We can hear you, but there might be a delay. I'm not sure. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
You're blocky as fuck. Like you're like first gen video call. Like that's what you look like.
That's fine. Well, as long as they can hear me.
Edge. You guys ever heard of Edge? That used to be like the first data thing that you get on mobile phones. And then it went WAP. You look like that looked like an Edge connection. Anyway, Joel's popped up and said it will be live streamed. Yeah, thanks for confirming that. You get.
So did you hear me talk about? Shut up, Paul. No one cares what you think. All right. I'm happy that you went to Nottingham Caesars. All right.
You said so about this adult league kicking off.
Perfect.
It not being the best of timing. With potentially some of these players. Don't know the numbers of it, but there's certainly a number of players that would start in a Senior Ball game at whatever level they're at. Getting them to play back to back, to 2 games in a row. You think there might be some sort of guidance on or rule on, minimizing the amount of play. I know of a couple of players who are not playing in the All-Star game because they've got a game for their team the next day, which is a bit of a shame, to sort of lose the honor. From what I think understand,
you still take something from it, though. I mean, you got selected.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like you didn't play in it, or I don't even know if that's. I suppose is that an honor? Is that still something that you can sort of like put on your footballing CV?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Like people who make the Super Bowl, they still get like all pro selections. So
yeah,
they just don't play. Like, they just don't play in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. And then the sorry, there was another point I was going to make and I completely forgot it. So there you go. Eat that, Ted.
So before we move on to getting some of the Bournemouth Bobcats in here to discuss their season, we've got the rundown Sport Tank Awards, not Gridiron Hoop. Don't know who they are. Sport Tank Awards. We've only got 4 awards because obviously, Uniball's a bit difficult to get the stats. We would love to do Player of the Year. Might be Dan Johnson, of course. It would be if. So we've got Team of the Year, Win of the Year, and a Newcomer of the Year. Obviously, Newcomer of the Year would go for someone who's new to a division. So, anyone that is basically any team that is new division, how well they've done, or even if you want to be funny, give it to someone who's lost their division. Really, really stick the knife in. But those are, so please put them in the comments who you think will win. We will delegate on them over the week and then we will come back to you next week. I'm not going to drink champagne out of a fucking cowboy hat again, so don't bother asking me. And no one's going to be slapping anyone at this awards night because Steve lives too far away. So from this, we're going to bring in some of the Bournemouth Bobcats. Hayden can introduce them simply because he actually knows them in real life as opposed to fake internet life. Because me and Steve actually don't know each other. We've never met. Unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, we have.
Oh yeah. There was a robot. Well, that didn't count, did it?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. You met my son, one of my sons. That was cool.
Yeah, and he loved the slate cup. And me
wearing. We haven't met. We have definitely met.
And for some reason, I was wearing a shirt. Why did I wear a shirt under my pads? We've still not figured that out. I've not figured that out yet. But yeah, so I'm going to throw over to Hayden to introduce the Bournemouth Bobcats we have got in the run down today?
Okay, so we got the three captains of this year. We got the team captain Jake, we got the offensive captain Ray, and defensive captain Louis.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hello.
I wish I was a captain, but no. Carry on. So guys, obviously, fantastic season. Like not only did you win, but you're being promoted. You know, obviously on the flip side of the coin, you know, Liverpool don't have that luxury. They've won the league, but don't get promoted. So I think first is like, I want the rundown from like all of you about the season that has just been.
Want to go first?
Yeah, we might as well kick it off. I tell you what, I can imagine with a lot of uni teams, they weren't too sure how their seasons would play out in terms of recruitment and stuff like that after the COVID season. But we only had a set group of returners, probably about 13 guys, and so our recruitment had to be hard and stiff. And I know Steve, Steve Rains pretty well, and I can imagine you know how ruthless he is in terms of his HR. But he went around the sports hall during the introductory period when people were picking what teams they're going to join, and he walked around with like the 6 rings he has on his fingers, walking around trying to attract all the best players. And well, in fairness, he did really well. We pulled up. We got some really, really top players that never even played the sport. We got some players like Alfie Burks, who you've mentioned before, who was a Solent Seahawks Academy player who came in all-star as well. So we did really well in terms of recruitment, and we progressed from there. We scrimmed with Brighton, and to be honest, it looked a bit messy in that first scrim. But it was all about us better prepared than the next opponent. So we never said game 1 against Bath that we were actually ready per se for that game. We just had to be more ready than they were, and we were. We beat them 38-0, and things just sort of. It was always a next game mentality. We got to win the next game to get promoted, because we've always struggled. The last 2 seasons that I've played at least, we struggled to get over the line. We always ended 6-1, 5-1, and we failed to get promoted. So our main goal this season, as much as we wanted to win the whole thing, our main goal was to get promoted. And then
How confident were you of that at the beginning of the season?
Extremely, to be completely honest with you. Some people would have thought about it being overconfident, but myself and Louis, when we're both president and chairman as well as captains, and we came up in our second year, we were really disappointed that we missed out on promotion. We said what we're going to do is we're going to become president and chairman, and the first thing we're going to do is get this team promoted.
That was the same year as well that we got to the semis and it got cancelled because of COVID. So it was like, you know, we got to the semis. Obviously, first year we got to the semis, we lost to Essex. Second year didn't get to play the semis. So it was more like that. You know, this year we had a bit of a chip on our shoulder. You know, after the previous years, and it'd been like a lot of years of preparation. It hadn't been something that just started this year. It's been going on from when even I first joined the team back in 2019 with Josh Reynolds, who was our president at the time. Who definitely, you know, that year we went from losing every single game to winning 6 out of 7 that season. So like so it all started from that point, really.
Yeah, it's a real mentality change.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sort of was it. But I'd tell you what, having an experienced winner on the team as a head coach with Steve was so helpful. You know, because whenever you get complacent, he would, you know, call you out on it. He'd pull you up. He'd make sure that you were still staying focused and things of that nature. And he's a great coach, and I can't wait to play for the Thrashers this season with Steve.
Oh, you're playing for the Thrashers with me, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Bring your autograph book, Steve. You can get some actual good football autographs. So, in terms of the confidence that you said, did that waver at all in the games that were exceptionally close, like the games with Solent and Kent?
Well, I think Solent is just a different, like a whole different atmosphere in general, because we lost our best running back Sam Quay like just after the half. He I can't remember his exact injury. Ray will probably tell.
Yeah, I think I just broke his leg, but
Yeah.
yeah, that game was just
So
it was really intense because like the game stopped for like 45 minutes, nearly an hour, and everyone was just thinking, we're 14-0 down, we're thinking, oh, the game's gonna get stopped, what's gonna happen next? And I just remember everyone heading into the locker room, and I was told heads were down, people just were demotivated, and then all of a sudden we came back, told the game's continuing, and it was like a movie, like you couldn't actually have predicted it. Came back, Alfie Burt scored like a 50-yard running touchdown, literally juked every single player in his way, and then a few minutes later, Solent fumbled the ball back at 14-14. Then they go and take the lead again, and then we come back 2 minutes to go, score again, and like I think it was like fourth down or third down, something. Score.
Hail Mary on fourth down.
Yeah, Hail Mary. It was
No
just
way.
I mean, it was just like a minute left as well, like a minute and a half left at that point, and we'd scored. And I think it was just it's just an insane game.
It was the first field goal we kicked all year because we always go for two.
Yeah.
That was just,
we didn't score another one, I don't think.
The first kick we did the whole season, and it was to win the game, was pretty insane. And I think Steve goes up to, I think at halftime, Solent were considering. Well, I guess because obviously if you leave it too long, then they just forfeit the game, and whoever's winning at that point will win.
Yeah.
Steve and Solent were considering that, and Steve goes to them and goes to their coach and says, "So you can stop the game now, but you won't be top of the table because you're not beating us by 21 points." They needed to have 21 points to be top of the table to be ahead of us, just because of the way it went against UE as well.
Yeah.
So yes, Steve, massive balls doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But then what? Sorry, go on.
No. Sorry, you go.
Well, okay. Well, what about sort of like obviously like by the time the playoffs had rolled around, you already knew that you'd been promoted. So like, was the confidence, not so much wavering in terms of your ability, but wavering in terms of, sort of, do we need to do this against Kent? I'm sure a 6-8 game is a sort of it's a spectacle to watch. But like. Was there any sort of confidence wavering in more going the opposite way and being overconfident against the Kent Falcons?
No, I don't think so. I think Kent were a really good side and it was a really tough game. But I think, to be honest, the score 6-8, we all know that was there at the game. That wasn't really the scoreline. We had the touchdown taken back for breaking his stride. So he'd literally run to the end zone and the ref called it back and said he'd broke his stride. So that got called back, even though he didn't do so. Yeah.
That's
but
taunting, like for those that don't know.
Yeah.
If you break your stride, they call you for taunting, which is
the most stupid. But like we then watched it back. Yeah, watched it back and it just wasn't the case, but it is what it is. But no, it was a really tough game. Like both teams were just on job on defense. It was hard to come by on offense. We had run the ball a lot. Like I don't think I've ever had to run the ball so much in a game before. But shout out to them. They did their thing, we did ours, and fortunately we were the winners.
I think as well, going into the playoffs, the mindset just changed completely from the regular season as well.
Yeah.
Like the regular season, our mindset was we had to win every game. Like if we didn't win every game, then like playoffs weren't even in our mind at that point, obviously. But I feel like as soon as we got into the playoffs, for everyone on the team, something just clicked, and we just were like, we all just had the same goal in mind, I think. So from the start of the playoffs, like, we were all just on the same page. And I think that was a really, really big factor as to why we won, is because everyone on the team knew what we had to do to win and all wanted to win, if that makes sense. So,
in fairness, as described, our first game that we played and every game so on was a playoff game for us to win the division. So when we stepped into the playoffs against UE again in the quarterfinals, our minds were already ready. We'd been doing it since the first game of the season.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really much of a culture shock for us.
Yeah, coach had already installed it. He just said, to be honest, every game is a sudden death playoff game for us because we've been there before where we've lost one game and it's kind of put a little damp on the season where you don't get promoted and then you go playoffs and there's a little bit of doubt that are we going to win this game or not. But going into the playoffs knowing you've won every game, there's just a level of confidence that other teams just won't have. Like that you're that team to beat, and it's just about you playing your best football, and you know that you probably just won't be beaten again.
and your fate's in your own hands, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to worry about dropping points or other results or looking over your shoulder. You're like, we win every game, then we'll be champions at the end of this thing. Like, it's a very simple ethos, but I've been on teams that have gone undefeated, and it's there are challenges with it. Like you've already mentioned that Coach Rains said about keeping you in check and making sure you don't get complacent and keep working hard, because you get to a point where your opponents can't beat you, but you can beat yourself. Through lack of preparation, just standard slipping. So it sounds like you guys were sort of, and we had Coach on last week, right? So he talked about the culture, but did you guys actually hold each other to a standard as well?
Absolutely.
That was one of the main things. When us three talked to begin the season, we kind of knew every player's got to be held accountable. That was one of the main things that we said we're gonna do. We're gonna make sure everyone comes training when they can, because we had previous years where it was just it was frustrating at times because the effort levels were different. Like some of us would attend every session, some wouldn't put as much. But this year, we couldn't have asked anyone from the players. Everyone showed up more or less every session, put everything they had into it. Like if, for example, there was one session where D-line, a lot of them couldn't attend, and we had DBs come down and play D-line against the O-line, and just thinking, damn, that's something that last year or years before maybe would not have happened. But I think just everyone buying in from early and showing the commitment levels, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was great. Everyone just putting in the time. We were training 4 times a week, like Wednesday. Wednesday after we'd go in at 1 o'clock till 3, train. Thursday we'd be there till 9 p.m. in a classroom session. Friday we'd be 2 hours, and wouldn't get home till 11 p.m. Sunday another 3-hour trip. We were just training a lot, and that added up, and that is that's one of the main reasons we were so successful.
One of the other things that I'd say about that is that you also that commitment needs to be met with a standard of skill from the coaching side.
Yeah.
If you're just going to if you're spending X amount of hours, a week on something, and you feel like half of it is just a waste of your time, that's going to kill everything, right? To you, one of the things I said to Coach Rains was how did you keep up with that from a coaching perspective? Obviously, he said he's retired, but his other guys were taking days off work or booking time off to make up another time.
Yeah.
How much of it do you think? I've obviously already made my mind up on it, but did you guys feel that you had that level of commitment from your coaches as well, that they cared, that they wanted to drive the stuff? Because I think that's
absolutely.
a massive component in a championship team, right?
Yeah, I mean, just to shout at the coaches, the effort they'd put in for the team this year has been absolutely immense. Give up their time and not, they're doing this for free. Give up their time 4 times a week to come and coach us. I think, literally can't thank them enough. And they're obviously a huge reason of why we won. There's just so many aspects, but those guys committing their time, and not only that, but putting the effort in to build relationships with all of us.
Yeah.
We were close with that. We're close with all our coaches. We're friendly with all our coaches.
Yeah.
We with them. We respect them. They respect us, and it's very two-way. They made an effort in every aspect of, not just on the field, off the field, outside of the game, socially. They looked after us properly, and that made us want to play better for them, and made us want to come to training, and made us want to train harder. So it all came.
Wow.
So it's
awesome.
Yeah.
Aaron just popped up and said, "Don't forget about the S&C."
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I want to shout out S&C. I want to shout out the S&C guys, Nathan and Dan. They put on extra sessions for us during the week, so we were training 2 S&C sessions a week as well on top of all the training. And they put a whole proper schedule together for us and gave us recovery sessions and equipment to help us recover better. So, and just to say actually as well, because we used to run under the student union, and we changed this year to Sport BU. And I know Steve mentioned this, but
I was actually going to bring it up because I was going to say that from your perspective, because you've been there before that, right? So
yeah. Well, it was they have been absolutely unbelievable, to be honest.
Amazing, yeah.
They're putting us up in hotels for the finals and the semi-finals, and paying for all the boys to, just be comfortable for the night before and make us, the best prepared we can be. On top of that, just generally being really helpful with everything, like organising the coaches. I mean, because we were a bit in Super before, we were so used to doing like, at the start of the year, we went to, it was the first game, we go to Sport View and we've like organised the whole itinerary and like all the coach travel, and they just go, we could do this for you. Like, you don't have to do all of this. And we're like, oh shit, dude, really? Okay, that's pretty useful.
I tell you what, we were a proper pain in the ass to them as well at the start of the year because we had a lot of equipment issues and so on, and they dealt with it perfectly. Like, they got orders in so quickly and stuff like that. Like, we were stuffed if they weren't so quick and agile in terms of the way they worked. So it's huge thanks to them if they are watching this.
Yeah, I mean, we had like 100 odd people. I think at recruitment, we managed to recruit about 120, 130 people.
A lot.
And then at the start of the year, we're like looking at about 80 odd people on the team. Obviously, that number went down as it does, but we had to like sort out a lot and organising all of that. And there was kit missing because of before that, the last time we had done any training was before COVID. So like everything was missing, jerseys missing. I mean, it was a nightmare at the start of the year. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, everyone was like really, really useful, and we pulled through basically, so it was good.
Have you got anything else you wanted to? Oh, even Hayden. Hayden sort of sat there quietly, isn't he?
I don't have much to say about these guys. I mean, they've if I want to talk about them, they've led the team so well this season. I think they've kept the morale up insane amounts. I mean, like Ray was saying with the Solent game, it was the way everyone went into change rooms after Sam got injured at 14-0 down. It was like no one was happy in that place. But the guys, they came in and they kind of, I think they speak from experience as well. Like Louis said with the semi-finals in previous years, they've had these losses and they know how much they sting. So the way these guys, the final years, came into change rooms and got everyone back up on their feet and kind of in the mood to play again. I don't think this team would have been as successful as it was without these guys in charge of our team.
Yeah, right. O-line were good too, Aaron, mate.
Yeah,
love Big up the O-line.
So in terms of like looking towards the final, obviously you won. Was there ever any sort of worry about Greenwich having one of the most impressive turnarounds of all time? Like, I could say in terms of Sport Tank, me and Steve did pick Bournemouth.
Yeah.
However, it was the only game of the championships that we were split on, with Greener and SJ picking Greenwich. Considering both of their sort of playoff wins being 31-6 against Oxford and then 20-0 against KCL.
Underdog wins, weren't
they really were. Was there ever any concerns about like just how hot this team is? Even before that, 27-6 against Cambridge and 50-0 against City Wolfpack. Like that's an insanely hot team to come into the final to face. Was there ever like any sort of, this team might be a bit spicier than we think?
Yeah, I think
it was. Yeah, but to be fair, when you say they were hot, we hadn't lost all season, so we were hotter than them.
However, in terms of your score lines, they weren't as sort of bombastic as the second half of the Greenwich Mariners season.
Yeah,
like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's no doubt that like we looked at them and thought, dropping 30 points on Oxford, and then what was it on the semi? Was it
20-0?
Yeah,
yes.
Like, there's no doubt we looked at them and thought, right, these guys are going to be these guys are going to be competition for us. But like we were saying, we just had to be more prepared than them. And the other thing was like one thing that we really like drilled into everyone was think about the team we're playing, but worry about yourself and worry about what you've got to do, because they can do whatever they're going to do. Like we can't dictate what they're going to do. All we can do is stop what they're going to do. So we just have to focus on our jobs, and that's why I think we went into the final with such calm, like level heads, because we knew that at the end of the day, as long as we just do what we need to do, they're not gonna get anywhere, and they're not gonna win. And we went out there, and like, you know, there was a few plays where maybe we didn't do what we needed to do, but you know, 90% of the time we did exactly what we needed to do, and that's why at the end why we won. And fair play to Greenwich, like turning around their season like that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And big respect to them for doing that. Like, it's not easy to get to a final at all. So like, fair play to them completely. But yeah, I just think we just had the right mindset going in, and we didn't worry about other teams too much. We just worried about ourselves the most.
Yeah. We also had one of the largest film collections as well, courtesy of the coaches. So we were very well prepared for the games.
Yeah, we had film on both of their playoff games, so we knew what they were.
I think one of the main thing as well was the coaches' preparation for the game. Like, for us players, us watching film by ourselves, you may have one opinion, but once you have someone like Coach Rains kind of breaking down the film, telling you what we're going to exploit, what they're good at, what they're not, like, it put us into like a whole different kind of feeling. Like, we kind of thought, if we do this, there's no way they beat us. And then it came true. Like, a lot of us were thinking, can we run the ball against them? Because they had quite a good run stopping defense. Second play of the game, we literally just run the whole length of the pitch and scored. And I think from then onwards, it was just like, all right, boys, like, we know we can do this now. And then we just smashed it, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just a ridiculous game in general. It was like having. I mean, I don't know if you saw the sideline that we had.
Oh my goodness!
We had probably like 200 people there.
Quite rowdy as well, weren't you?
Like, they were loud. They were really loud. Yeah.
There was a few too many beers there. Yeah.
But like, we made it. We basically kind of made it our home ground. I'm not gonna lie. We brought absolutely everyone. And the thing is, we were organising a supporters coach from Bournemouth that sadly fell through. So we probably would have had like 60 odd people come down. But like, yeah. So yeah, I wanted to say thank you to everyone for support. Basically, like, we had loads of societies from the uni come down, like cheer, netball, like loads of people loads of other teams from the uni had come to support us, like come to Greenwich to support us.
Wow.
So like, the relationship we have with the other societies has like really been amazing this year, and being able to get all of that support down was just so monumental.
Do you try and reciprocate that? Like, do you feel like duty bound? Like, I better go and watch.
Yeah,
game or whatever it is. Like...
Yeah, we do. We do go to a lot of their games. Cheer nag us to go to their showcase. No, I'm joking. But no, we do support them. Like, it's just nice. Like, we just do have a good relationship with a lot of the teams at BU, which has paid off really in a lot of ways for us and for them.
And one question I've got about, obviously, I know you're going up to another level, another division. This isn't about that. How do you make sure that you maintain that approach, and that feeling? Because without being a prick, we are going to lose a game or two next year, right? Like, I'm not trying to piss.
You don't know that.
We don't know. You don't know that.
You don't know
I
that.
don't know that. But like, what I'm talking about is how do you guys feel about the reaction of your team, your coaches, everything that you've just been spending time talking about, if things get a bit rocky, like, do you guys think you can persevere through that sort of thing? And like, have you thought about any of that stuff yet, or are you just still riding on the high of the championship? I don't know where Teb's gone. He's disappeared.
Yeah, I think we've set the tone this year for the players to come in next year, for these players who are returning. Wasn't hoping. Yeah. For these players returning, they know what needs to be done to win. We've got all our coaches coming back next year, all the same coaches, so the coaching staff isn't changing, and they know what they need to do, and they're all like, all the people on this team work hard and they commit, and as long as they do that next year, I'm sure we'll have no problem. And they know what they need to do. So that's
I don't think anyone's fearful of what's next. Like, we're undefeated this season for a reason. Like, I don't think the mentality will change at all. I think we'll go into every game the same way we did this year, where it's like we prepare, we play, and we try our best, and we hopefully win the game. Obviously, maybe some games will be a bit harder, but we've been through challenges this year as well, and we've come through them as well. So we'll see. I think we'll go all the way personally next year.
Do
But that's me being biased.
Do you reckon you're looking at playoff football next year then?
Oh, I
Yeah,
think it'll be a disappointment if we don't. I think this team we have right now, in my opinion, is a Div 1 team. I've been saying that at the beginning of the season. We have a lot of quality on this team that are here next year as well, and I'd be surprised if we don't boss it.
Well, Steve, I also in an article that is coming out, I also have predicted Bournemouth to make the playoffs next year. However,
because you've got
well, no, because that follows on to my next question. So I've got Exeter winning that division next year, and as it currently stands, due to SGS Pride being in Southwestern 2, obviously if you get put there, probably more likely, 2 teams dropped out. So that currently stands you, Southampton Stags, Bristol Barracuda, and Exeter Demons. Surely that means that another team is going to join. And like, obviously, are they just going to have that? Were they just going to have that?
No, you got one getting relegated to the Prem.
Swansea's going to be in it, I think.
Yeah,
Swansea.
Oh yeah. Then don't worry.
Yeah. I'm gutted about
Swansea.
Because my best mate plays for Swansea and we always wanted to play each other. And next year we get a chance. We're both graduating now.
Yeah, well, that was another question I was going to ask. Like, how much of your talent will be leaving through graduation next year?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
Us three are leaving. We've got a few others important players leaving, but the people that we've trained up for next year, I think they'll do a good job replacing us.
It's the same thing every year. Like every year, you lose such good players. Like I wish if we had even 2-3 of the returners we had from last year here this year, we would have been even more unstoppable. But that's just the fact is that the good players eventually leave. But the players that come underneath them.
It's funny because I also see like people that have like players that have played Uniball for 10 years, or 6 years, or not like.
Shout out Luke Marder.
Just staying on doing more and more courses, like because it feels to me that those people aren't necessarily putting education first or their career first. They're just like, I just want to keep playing Uniball until I'm 33.
I think it gets.
Sorry.
Yeah, Steve. How about you shut up about stuff like that? All right.
No, you're not 33, and you're doing.
Well, if his PhD goes ahead, he knows it might take a bit too long.
Oh no, you're going to be one of them.
Yep,
a
unbelievable.
Uniball player.
Career Div 2 Uniball player, my friend. Only the sweetest of fruit.
Don't forget to bring your passports for Swansea. Change up your
Not sure Aaron knows how borders work, but
yeah.
Wait, did you guys never have that? Because remember when we went up to Scotland, it was you got to bring your passports on the bus. You have to bring your passports on the bus. And you could tell he was an absolute lemon. Oh yeah, as an absolute joke, but absolutely mug yourself off. So it's sort of in terms of like that div next year. Obviously now with Swansea in it, like Exeter are definitely sort of the team to beat there, and as Steve could attest, their offense is very dynamic with one Mr. Bush if he's still there next.
They might be waxed. Who knows?
But like as far as I'm concerned, in terms of my prediction, I think Southampton I don't have you going down at all. But Bristol, they're not. I don't think they're terrible at Exeter. But my thing is, I feel like those teams are going to come back with a vengeance next year because they've sort of had an entire season sort of squashed due to the fact that they had the pride in their division. Like, what are your thoughts on facing teams that are going to be coming back with, after sort of having a season that is not so much a loss, but is definitely they had an albatross around their neck in the form of the pride.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously going to be a massive step up, to say the least. I know quite a few of the Exeter players, and they're very good. I'll give them the utmost credit. And it's going to be a huge challenge, but I mean, we face some really difficult. It is Div 2, but we face some really difficult opponents.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, Jake, why would you say that?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, just keeping it real, like one of the guys in the comments.
As 1 year.
But
Steve, we can end this. We can end this now. I'm not having this slander, mate.
But yeah, sorry, Div 2, but we're not in it anymore. But,
Good point, well made.
yeah, but yeah, it's obviously going to be a huge change. But our players, they're used to challenge. They'll deal with it on the spot. These coaches have dealt with way more than this before. They're experienced and they can lead the way for this really talented, hungry group of players to come in and show exactly what they're worth and prove that they are a Div 1 team, which we knew we were at the start of the season. This season, we didn't feel like we belonged in D2. And I think we've shown that this season that we didn't, to be completely honest. We are losing some talented ballers. I think 3 of our 4 All-Stars this year are unfortunately leaving, but one of them is Alfie, and having him throwing me the ball the whole season, I can tell you he's some player and he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And the quarterback is a very important position, and I mean, we're in very capable hands next season, to say the least.
It's going to be exciting watching the team this year, I think, because there's just a lot of potential and a lot of people that want to work hard and want the teams to succeed. So, yeah, that's why I'm just hopeful. It's going to be fun watching the team. So, and also, like, this sport, we play it because it's fun and we want to have a good time. And I think everyone on the team is just wants to have fun and wants to just ball out. So, I think it's going to be really fun watching them next year.
Yeah, I want to just say that I think the ethos that, like, obviously a bunch of talented players are graduating and it's going to be a shame to lose them, but I think the ethos of the team that they've instilled this year remains, and I think the kind of the general confidence that a lot of the guys have is going to carry on into next year. And like, I'm sure those 3 would agree that the way some of the players who've never played American football before have progressed this year. I mean, like, one of the running backs, Sam Emerson, he's turned into an absolute monster over the course of the season at running back.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of stuff to be excited about for the future.
Yeah, Teddy's back too at running back as well.
Yeah, and Teddy,
especially that backup left tackle,
left guard.
left guard. He's some player.
Yeah, watch out for the gritty.
So obviously you've won the Div 2 South and are being promoted. So a discussion we've been having over the past few weeks is Liverpool Raptors won the Div 2 North and they're not being promoted. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because they beat some very very good teams. Like, even going so far as to losing to Manchester Metropolitan during the regular season, but then beating them, relatively handily in the postseason. Like, obviously, I know it's sort of, it's not your area or not even area expertise, but just what are your thoughts on that? To like have a championship being won, but there's sort of no promotion in sight, especially for this year.
Yeah, it's interesting considering the way they do it in Div 1. I'm surprised they don't do it the same way in Div 2. Like but I don't know. I guess they've done it.
We always talk about this, debate this. Yeah, it's a weird one.
I mean, no surprise that Baffa are confusing the hell out of us again. But like, it's
the way that they did, because you've got 6 divisions divided into North South, so 3 and 3, both levels 1 and 2. So
yeah,
Div 1, Div 2. Easy to just push people up and down. There are some exceptions. Sometimes they do realign depending on who it is and where they are, right? But so it's the playoffs for that are really difficult. Like, if you're doing it through a playoff, it's really tough to pick who wins, right? So let's say if one of the teams, like one of the leagues, those 3, all teams get beat in the first round, any of them, deserve to go up. And then if you've then, or let's say the 3 that are most deserving are from the same league, well, then you've got 3 going up, and then only 1 coming down from that region, and it makes things a little bit more difficult. So I think they've basically like fudged Div 2 to so that it's not an administrative headache, and it's made it a lot more difficult. What I suggested last week, and I assume you guys won't agree with me, is that instead of having a playoff, they just play a couple more extra league games, and then whoever's at the top goes up. I don't know. We're not here for that debate, but yeah, like that's for me seems to be like the most fair thing. I know
Yeah.
it deprives Div 2 of a playoff, but it's for me that seems the most fair way of doing it. It seems really odd to run this playoff with, with no prize for those that win. Apart from obviously the plaudits, right? You definitely want to win it, but it hasn't made a difference to what you're going to be doing next season.
Yeah, no, it's interesting as well because like, obviously in the regular season, it's you can't lose a game if you want to get promoted realistically. So it puts a lot of pressure on your regular season because we only had 5 games this year because Worcester dropped out of one, so we had only played 5, and we needed to win all of them to get promoted. The same in like probably the rest of Div 2 because it's so competitive. If you're not winning every game, then it's a lot of pressure each game. It is a lot of pressure.
It does seem slightly unjust for Liverpool, though. They're clearly the best team in the north. I mean, they blew out Glasgow pretty comfortably, and they're not getting promoted. So there's something about that does seem wrong. I think someone suggested it. Maybe like the 2 finalists go through, and then the final of like a 3rd and 4th place or something. Like, does that make it too complicated? But it's
Well, again,
surely
you could still have a situation where those 3 teams that win are all from the same league.
Yeah.
Saying that,
then the best 3 teams go up, though, right?
So then you could have a team that get knocked out in the first round going up. So like there's like honestly there's no fair way of doing it because there's 3 leagues trying to go up into decide who's going up. So, yeah.
But okay, Steve. But on that point, so what about if the team that goes up, say against Liverpool Raptors had, say 3 walkovers victories in their campaign, but still went undefeated?
I think that's fact. Oh no, it's not factored in, is it? I don't think they can. Oh yeah, they do. They do factor that into the ranking.
They do. Well, because that's exactly what's happened. Because Manchester Metropolitan have been promoted, but have had 3 walkover victories.
Yeah, I think of walkover victories weaker than an actual played game. I think we shouldn't be outranked, but again.
So for the Bournemouth boys, this is a loaded question. Would you beat Liverpool Raptors?
100%. That's not a question.
I'll back us.
I see. The thing is, I've wanted this game. I've been saying it since the semi-final. If we win, we call them out. We play them. Obviously, the scheduling is not ideal because we will have exams, senior ball starts. Like it's obviously probably not going to happen. But I completely back us. I don't think there's a team in Div 2 that can hang with us, personally.
Without doubt.
What do you think, Tebs?
What do I think?
Yeah, who'd you back? Raptors or Bobcats?
Gosh, what a good question. What a good question.
On a podcast with 4 Bobcats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what a good question. What a good question.
So that means I would assume you mean Liverpool. You're going to say because you took too long to answer. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I would go to Bobcats definitely.
Well, I'm the only one here that would say Liverpool. So
it's because you're a northerner.
Only one way to find out, though, really.
Yeah.
Wait, but what's your
It
reason?
won't happen. It happens every single year with some whenever that's happened in like any league. There's north-south winner. Everyone's like, oh, you should do a playoff. To see who the truth, and it never materializes. It's a cool idea, and I get like both sides will want to do it. If we had some Liverpool Raptors on now, they'd be exactly the same as you guys. Yeah, we got to play them, and it'd be great, and we'd beat them, and and that's what makes it so good. But it just won't happen in Britpol.
I think we'll bring our playoffs forward a bit, and then get us to the Bucks Big Wednesday game. They do North v South this too.
I think
Will's picked up on your point there, Tebs. 3 walkover victories against a team who dropped.
That's
out.
true. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
That's an explanation.
That's why.
Why Liverpool over us? I want to know why.
Can you explain it?
Because again, it's like obviously you won all your games. Yeah, that's what happened.
They didn't.
But you're right. They didn't. They didn't. But the teams they beat also won all their games. To beat a team like the Glasgow Tigers, who won all their games, 32-3, to beat the Edinburgh Napier Knights as well. Like, what was the scoreline on that? 8-24. I think that's a pretty good football team right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're not, but
what you said with Greenwich though.
No, because I didn't pick Greenwich.
Oh, okay, the other guy said with Greenwich then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
two, we didn't. We picked
Yeah,
Bournemouth.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm just.
I don't know how you don't back a team that's not lost a game the whole season. Personally, that's just my view on things. You can't bet against a team that ain't lost.
He's got a good point. He's got a good point. Well, obviously, you never watch Ted Bet Tips. I bet against teams that fucking lost all the time. So to sort of like round it all out, obviously All Stars is this weekend. You know, we've sort of given Steve's given his thoughts, Hayden's given his thoughts, I've given my thoughts. What are your thoughts on the All Star game? And obviously, with 4 players in it, that's going to be a big thing. And is anyone from Bournemouth going down to watch it who's not participating?
Well, you're in it.
I'm playing in it.
Hey, very good.
Yeah, very excited.
You can come and punch me square in the face. We're talking about Liverpool. Amazing. Great.
We'll just show you how good we are instead. You know, like some of our players. But yeah, we've got 2 QBs, which is practically unheard of, coming down and playing in that game. Then our linebacker Ethan as well is going to play there. Maybe one of the fastest linebackers in the country. And it's really, I think it's an amazing game to showcase all your talent. But what you were relating to earlier was the senior ball season kicking off. Now, for me, it's always been a dream to play in an all-star game. When I was playing junior football, the under-19 GB team didn't exist, and I never got to do that. So this is sort of the closest thing to that, and I would never really want to miss out playing that. But at the same time, the Thrashers play on Sunday, which is the day after, and you can't play both. One, because your body would be battered, and 2, I don't think it's actually legal. You have to have like a 3-day layover or something like that. I think perhaps they should have done it this past weekend so that everyone who plays in the All-Star game can play their senior ball games as well.
If I remember rightly, they used to have this game around like Christmas time or
Yeah,
at the end of the adult season. And I say used to. I mean, it's not been around very long. I think is it in its 3rd year, 2nd year?
they stopped it for a while, I believe, didn't they? And then
I meant this incantation, like this
Nice.
you know, since Football America sort of started it back up again. It's not been around, you know, too long. This sort of current run of it, and yeah, I'd love to understand the decision a little bit more of why have they put our players and our coaches in this position? Like you know. You're caught between a rock and a hard place. Like I can completely sympathise with you wanting to play, you know, in that All-Star game. But also, if you turn around and said, I just want to be there and play for again because it's the Warriors the Thrashers are playing against, right? It's not just the best team in the country for multiple years, right? So you know, I can imagine how you'd feel pressure, or you'd feel I can see it either way. So it's a really bad timing. I don't get how BAFCA, like who were involved in it, who took on the event, were decided to put that together that way. It's not fair. It shouldn't be that you choose one or the other. It should be that, you know, arrangements are made, and you know you can do both. So yeah, it's a shit situation for you guys.
Yeah, it is a shame.
But yeah,
but for everyone else, it's good because they got a whole weekend of football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like Tabs, he can't wait.
Well, I'm not going to any senior ball games. So, you know, there's a whole other crew of people that do that, and I'm just sad that I'm not playing this year. No, I'm just sad I'm not playing this year.
What are you going to be doing instead? Are you going to be doing like the stuff for us, or are you going to be just? Well, you said you're not going to the games. You're just going to enjoy your weekends.
No, what do you mean? I'll probably just do this. I'll probably just do more media. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I'm up for that.
Oh, thanks, Steve. As long as you're up for it. So one more question. Obviously, like in terms of the division that you've just left, you've got some teams that are, you know, very much struggling. Obviously, Worcester played a varsity game. I don't particularly understand how that works. You've got Gloucestershire as well. You've got Bath as well. Like, what do you think is the difference? Like, what is the difference between? Because from what I can gather from this interview is, you knew you were going to be a Div 1 side from the beginning. of this season. But like, what is the main difference between a team that is sort of a perennial Div 2 side and a team that has sort of larger aspirations in terms of Uniball?
Coaching,
Yeah,
facilities, finances.
it comes down to a lot.
Yeah, the standard stuff. But I think the coaching is the biggest factor. If I'm being completely honest with you.
I think personally, if I was to put it down to one thing, if I had to, it would be the team dynamic and how each player interacts with every other player. Like I mentioned earlier, Steve Reyes. Like I mentioned earlier,
He's not wrong.
yeah, that's pretty close actually.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, he's like the Harry Redknapp of Britball.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, everyone being on the same page, everyone wanting the same thing. I think when you can get 60 people to have the same goal and know what they need to do to reach that goal, that's what makes a difference.
Yeah,
and that was down. Obviously, that was down to many factors, but I genuinely think that is the underlying reason as to why we were so successful and to why maybe teams that have been stuck in Div 2 like us, like we had been for a while, are missing. Is that just like that team, that that click that the team would have that we luckily got this year, and we all.
Yeah.
I just think that made such a huge impact.
I think depth as well. Like Gloucester, they were actually a really talented team. They have some really good ballers there, but they just didn't really have enough numbers to continue for the whole game. But some teams, I think our size of our uni, we can kind of attract a lot of different people. Whereas Bar Spa is kind of a small university. I think the people that do play kind of just are happy to be playing American football. Whereas for us, it's like we've now got a lot of numbers. We've been here, done that before. We need to just now win. So everyone's kind of mindset is a bit different. Some are just happy to play. We're not just happy to play. We're here to win.
But,
Well, I mean, I was going to say, in terms of all my questions I've got there, they're very much answered. If anyone, I'm sure that some of these people that are commenting are probably Bournemouth Bobcats players, supporters, but if they've got all of them
related to Bournemouth Bobcats.
Well, if they've got any questions that they need answering on a live stream, just in case of a matter of public record, then I think it's good. I think it's a good time. If not, but I will say this interview's been very, very informative. Honestly, very impressed by just the sheer professionalism of it all. Apart from my connection dropping out, what a surprise! I'm the most unprofessional person on an interview. Unbelievable.
Well, we really enjoyed being on as well, and
really appreciate it.
Very grateful.
To get us on there, put our name out there. So thank you.
So Steve, you got anything? If we want to wait for some questions, if they won't embarrass anyone too much. If not, I think I'm.
Louis, how many coach right for the Bobcats? If I'm not,
you didn't message him to us.
I did not message him.
Louis, you so did, mate.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Mum, ask me this.
He's asked the question now. But I did get 10. I did get 10 this season.
10 picks. That's mad.
For the
it's a season record, yeah.
Louis, do you wanna shout out any of the QBs?
Do I want to shout out? I'd like to shout out every single QB that threw those to me.
Anyone in particular?
Anyone in particular, mate? Is there anyone
in particular? Well, I'm gonna have someone. But I mean, yeah, it was good. It was like
go on. You're leaving next year. Go on, shout someone out.
My pick 6 against Nathan Lester against you, the first game we played. It was the last play of the game, and I ran it. So I'm leaving next year. So. But I just had to say, defensively, I think we had about 23 interceptions across the season.
Wow.
Yeah, one of our linebackers had 8.
One of our rookies, Sonny, he got 7. Cormac got pick 6 in the final. He got 2 on the year. Ethan got pick 2 at the final.
Pick 6. Well, pick 2.
Pick 2. Yeah, that was cool.
It was just a quality final, to be honest.
Yeah. You've been asked about favourite O-lineman. Actually, more specific for you, Ray. Who do you want at left tackle next season?
I've already said it. Jabs, unfortunately, you're moving from left guard to left tackle next year. I've prepped him. I've told him. I called him my son because I mentor him this whole year. So get ready, Jabs. You'll play left tackle next year. Favorite O-line is myself. I can't lie. I'm not picking
Wait.
Fair play. Yeah, you gotta love yourself,
Aaron's
man.
there, like, Aaron's there, like, please put me.
Yeah.
Nah, but speaking of Aaron, I want to shout out him, Louis, and Hayden. Their media work this year. If anybody's been keeping up with our Insta, I think there's not a team on our level when it comes to media. We are insane.
Well, you'll find out from Tebs because he's going to give an award out this time next week.
I don't trust him because he picked Liverpool over us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He'll probably pick Liverpool. He'll probably pick Liverpool for the social media as well.
Can I just point out that I don't know. It seems a bit like favoritism if Hayden's doing work for us. I'm like, yeah, give it to Hayden. Yeah,
It's about the quality of the work.
Yeah, but also I'm a very small part of the podcast media. Louis is the main part of it, and Aaron does some really incredible designs.
Mhm.
I mean,
okay, well, I can split it up because this is more for who's got the funniest social media as opposed to who's got the best looking.
Who? Honey, I Shrunk the Bobcats.
Yeah,
York Centurions.
Yeah, well, they
that was
beefy,
the-
aren't
yeah.
they?
Yours was decent.
I remember. Was that you guys that did that?
What?
Yeah, the shrinking the Bobcat thing.
Yeah. Was that
Yeah,
you
it
guys?
was.
That was
Yeah.
hilarious. We shared that.
That was Aaron.
Yeah.
That was Aaron.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
it
was
was
awesome idea, and they obviously looked fantastic. It's that sort of stuff that people if you're a player and that was you, you would love it, And I always go on. I always say that as a player, you should your club should have a number of things for you, say your stats, film, footage, and then mentions of obviously you need to earn your mention in a write-up, right? But there needs to be a report of a game that comes from your club, and you just sort of, for me as a player, maybe ego, narcissism, or whatever. I love seeing pictures of me. I love watching. I've watched my best plays more times than anyone else, right? I don't know. Maybe my dad might have watched them more than me, but and so when you see stuff like that, even a happy birthday post or a congrats post or anything that sort of mentions someone, and Hayden or Tebs will know this. I always say to our guys internally, gas everyone up because they love it, and not gas them up as in embellish what they've done, but if someone deserves a shout out and someone's done something great, let's talk about it. And those Honey I Shrunk posts were fantastic. They were unique to the game. They got a lot of attention. And I imagine the players that were the subjects of them, all saved the images and sent them to their mates and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was, that sort of stuff. It's amazing how the media side of it, how important it is to a player, but you selfishly don't want to say it. But I don't mind. I will. I'll say where's all the fucking pictures? I remember when, I can remember when, years ago when I was playing for the Knights, after a game, in whatever, group chat or whatever it was that we were using, I can't even remember what it was, but some sort of system. The first things that were posted by the players after the game was, when's the pictures going to be up? When's the pictures going to be up to the photographers, right?
Yeah.
So and that it's just something that we love to see other media teams get stuck in and try to sort of amplify it, just sort of spread good practice and good examples and stuff. But I ultimately think all of that just comes down to, I suppose there's an element of it that comes down to the seriousness of and the quality of the actual league as a whole. But I think the biggest benefit is that you get your player buy-in, and people just love that spotlight, right? I think so. I mean, I'm talking from my own personal experience here, right? If I've smacked a player, if I've got a sack, if I've sent someone up in the air, I want a picture of it. I want a nice angle of it. I want it mentioned in the in the write up. I want everything. Obviously, I'll probably only get one of those things, but it for me, that's part of the game. It's part of the legacy that you leave behind when you stop playing, right? I think it's great seeing these creative media teams starting to do more and more things. So, you've got Chris Coop, who's your
We were about to
Chris,
shout you out, Chris.
he's got a lot of love. Actually, he's got a lot of love.
I can't lie. All of the media stuff that they do, all the media stuff that they do without Chris Coop, this guy's been here way before we were here. He's come to basically every game. He's an absolute legend.
Wow.
We play for him as well. He's a massive part of this team.
We're
Yeah,
getting
that's
another.
cool.
guys so much.
He's excellent as well. It's not just that he comes to the game. His photographs are brilliant. Like he
Yeah.
catches the best angles. Top 10 quality. Like
It literally made making
Amazing.
posters so much easier. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's so easy to do cutouts of players.
Yeah. Well, it's
because of the quality of his images.
Yeah,
and like you're saying about getting gassed up about seeing posters, images of yourself. So before the final, I designed a poster for our QB Alfie, and I said to him, you're not allowed to share it anywhere. You're not allowed to post it anywhere until we win the game. And he was just like getting pretty gassed up. He's like, all right, I guess I got to go win the game then. I was like, yeah, I'm telling you cannot share it anywhere if we lose. I'm not letting you. Most valuable photographer.
Yeah, he is the MVP.
Yeah.
Well, good. It's nice to see some love for for the guys in the media team and obviously photographers that, as we always say, get him a ring. We've done that actually. When I've won championship rings, you give the physios and the support staff give them rings, which is quite cool.
Yeah, don't worry,
that'll be
Chris.
cool.
We'll get you a
Chris,
ring.
you gonna get your ring. Don't worry, we got you.
Well,
We got you.
do you know yet when you're getting your rings? I assume you've seen designs for them and everything by now, right?
We're talking to a
we're in the
supplier
process,
right now.
yeah.
So-
Right. Okay.
We got some t-shirts on their way as well.
Oh yeah, they're really cool.
Like,
You
we are-
design them too, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really cool.
We are milking it a little bit, but I think we're allowed to be honest. I think
You've had an undefeated season, and it's a extremely rare thing to happen in
on top of
any
that as
sport,
well.
but particularly this one, right? So
Yeah. on top
enjoy
of that,
it. It's
team history as well. Like this first
yeah,
time.
exactly. Yeah, no, I'm all for it, man. Like I said, I love all of the gassing yourselves up, gassing the other players up. Like what you've done is tremendous. I've only had one undefeated season. I had another season that we had one loss in, and I still think about that loss all the fucking time.
Yeah, losing.
And it didn't. We still won a championship that year because it wasn't in the playoffs. It was in the league. But it plagues me. I've watched that footage so many times of that game, thinking where did we fuck up? So you don't have any blemishes. It's something to really be proud of. So congrats to you guys. And your entire organisation. It's been great just hearing about. I think we've covered every angle of what a successful club looks like, and it's been really good. You guys sharing your insights. So I appreciate it. I know Tebs does. He probably doesn't say it that often as he should, but he's a quiet man. He keeps himself to himself.
Why do you want me to say it now? I've already said thank you, Steve. You little fucking.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think as soon as Liverpool mentioned, mate, you tuned out.
He has been quiet since he made
He has, isn't he?
You've been wrong.
It's like
How can I get Liverpool one for next week?
I'll see you on Saturday, Ted.
I've been writing it down. that's my problem. That's my problem. Is that I've now realised that I'm gonna get spat on by Bournemouth players because
Yeah.
and you know what? Actually, thinking about it, Liverpool would still win. Yeah, grow up. I'm not taking anything back.
You're lucky there's a screen in between us right now, Ted.
Yeah. You're gonna send me a picture of a broken nose on Saturday. It happens.
But you guys have to remember that the one team that I said was gonna suck out and be relegated made the playoffs, and now me and Portsmouth Destroyers are best friends. So who knows?
Yeah, this could be the start of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, maybe. We are leaving, to be fair, so you can take a relationship
cool.
to the committee next.
No, that makes it even worse. It means you can't get shouted at by the SU when you come and break my legs with a crowbar.
Very true.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for bringing us on, though, guys. Really do appreciate it.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Vice versa.
Thank you very
Right.
much.
And then with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put up some posts in the week with the awards. Please comment who you think who was the best team, who has the best looking social media, the funniest social media, the shock winner of the year, and the best newcomer of the year. So,
Cool.
with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week for Awards Week. Thank you very much to the Bournemouth, all of the Bournemouth guys, all of the Bournemouth squad.
Caption of the year. Does he get an award for that? Because that's fantastic.
That's good. That's good.
He loses
No,
points
do you
for this
wanna-
in
do you-
Sport Tank, but other than that, that's a
Do
prime.
you want to
that's a
know? Do you want to
premium
know
level
why? Do you want to know
comment.
why? Because I know Paul, and he's a scumbag, and I've never liked you, Paul. Right? I've never liked you, Paul, and I'll drive to Nottingham to tell you that.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, thank you again.
Ruining
Ted,
my
did you have anything
outro,
else to
Paul.
wrap up with? I think
Stop
we're done.
accosting my outro, you scumbag. But yeah, thank you to the Bournemouth guys. Thank you to Hayden. Thank you to Steve. You know what? Thank you to me. We will see you next week for the rundown. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Vote on the things. I'll put them up in a week. Vote on them.
Vote for Bobcats.
Yeah, vote Bobcats.
You
Alright,
can end it,
Solent,
Steve.
we'll see you on the 4th of May as well.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
see you on the 4th of May.
Round 2.
Yeah,
Who do you play for, Ray?
We got Bob.
So-
What do you mean? What senior team or no?
Yeah,
I'm
is
talking
that
about
what you're referring to?
no. We got a varsity as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we've got
okay.
varsity.
No, have you?
I
Yeah.
might pop down
4th
to
of
that.
Yeah,
I
you
might
should come
pop down to that.
We've actually never lost to Solent
in our
so
sector,
far.
yeah.
So we're not
You
trying
should.
to
I'm from Portsmouth and I hate Southampton. So
Yeah, we all.
another reason to support the wonderful Bobcats.
Yes,
Yeah.
Get down.
So,
Get down.
yeah.
It's,
Well,
Yeah,
guys, I'm going to surprise you
fuck
because I'm
Solent.
going to pick
Fuck
Sol.